Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another session of Alejandro and Bob Unplugged. And it's great to be with all of you once again. Of course, Bob is coming live, from the other side of the ocean. I am on this side of the ocean, coming directly from Beaufort, Georgia. So, and today we have another good topic. And as we are really approaching the year 2021, we are not there yet, but we are getting closer one day at a time. We thought that we were going to address a topic. Of course, we want to put emphasis into leadership today, and not just leadership, but servant leadership, because I truly believe, and I think that Bob also strongly believes that I guess there are various forms of leadership, and we see them out in the world. They are leaders who lead in various and different styles of leadership. But I believe that the one leadership that is, in our opinion, very effective, not only for the leader, but for those who follow such a leadership style, is servant leadership, is the leader who is not obsessed with himself or herself, or his or her title of leadership, but they are much more concerned with other people and with enhancing the journeys of other people, helping other people grow, helping other people develop, helping other people to really be servant leaders. And so we want to really talk about servant leadership, but not just servant leadership today, but how is servant leadership going to perhaps change or be different or evolve in the year 2021, next year? So having said that, and having given this small introduction, let me pass the ball to Bob and have him discuss a little bit that topic.
Well, thank you. Thank you for passing the ball. And hey, everybody, one of the most favorite times of the week for me is when I get to interact with Alejandro in our Unplugged sessions, and obviously interacting with you. And that's also part of what servant leadership is all about. And, the first thing to agree with Alejandro, we're getting very, very close to the year 2021. And I know so many of you have been commenting, oh my gosh, the year 2020, when is it going to end? It has been like the most tumultuous year. That's probably a pretty good word. Tumultuous and profound year that has been in so many years. I think back to some years that were tumultuous back when I was growing up. 1969, for instance, was a crazy year. There have been other crazy years along the way as well, but so many things have occurred in 2020 so far, and not all of it has been good by our perspectives. Now, maybe you're feeling different, that this has been a great and fabulous year. I don't know. I can only tell you what we have been personally experiencing. I know Alejandro and I. But one thing with regard to servant leadership, and this is the key word that one has to get over, because we have been raised, the older generations, that the word servant implies somebody waiting on you. the word servant implies almost like slavery as far as the older generations. And so change is taking place. There's a morph that has to be encountered. And so when servant and leadership are put together, it's a totally different mindset than the word servant. Now, I always start my day when I'm speaking to people, I'm always saying to them, how may I serve you today? See, because it's not about me. I get pleasure, I get enjoyment, I get satisfaction out of being able to help other people. Now, I'm not going to say this next thing to impress you, but I'm going to say it to impress upon you that yesterday and by the way, we spoke last week about synchronicity. Coincidences don't happen coincidentally. And if you haven't seen that video, it's up there on YouTube, and Alejandro will tell you later where you can go see that. But yesterday I happened to decide I took the bus and I decided I was going to get off and pick up some things from the store and then walk back to the house. Well, I happened to get off the bus, and the first thing that I did was I walked to the store, and I see this senior citizen coming out of the grocery store with the shopping cart that was loaded for bear. I mean, she had it, everything was in there. The thing is, though, for her to get that shopping cart from the store to be able to walk to her car, there was an incline that kind of, you know, when you put asphalt on the ground, sometimes it changes shape and you gotta. So I just walked over and well, first of all, I had to get her cane out of the shopping cart because she clearly was a senior citizen using a cane. I got her squared away, and then I pulled her cart up. Now, I could have left her there to walk to the car by herself, but I said, okay, where's your car? Let me take this over to your car. And she pointed to where the car was. I went over there, I waited, and we had a nice conversation. And I asked her, do you need me to put the stuff in the car for you? She said, no, I'm good, but thank you very much. Now, that's part of what servant leadership is all about. Doing something that is not like you're not giving it forethought. You know, who are you holding a door open for? Yeah. Man or woman, it makes no difference to me. Makes no difference to me. I mean, some people say, oh, that's sexist. You're holding the door open for me as a woman. No, it's part of servant leadership. And there are 5 things I'm going to mention here as we go through this. But the first one is be vulnerable. You see, if you're going to be a servant leader, you can't walk around like you are the best thing since sliced bread.
Well, you know what happens, Bob? I think that from the example that you brought into the conversation, and just the first point out of the 5 that you're going to be sharing with us, which is being vulnerable. I think that even before that, one thing that makes a person a leader, a servant leader, is first of all is to always walk or move around with your eyes and your ears very well open. Yes. Because I have seen that a great number of people, they just walk around as if nothing was happening around them. And
sort of like this.
That's exactly right. I mean, just like the blinders on horses' eyes. I mean, that they only see straight. I mean, they don't have a wide angle vision. And I think that for good leaders to be and to become good leaders, they have to have what I think is called a 360-degree wide angle vision, because you need to see what is around you, because the very moment that you are aware of what's happening around you, you can and this is the second thing that is very important, you can then take initiative on helping or extending a hand or doing something for others, or in a different situation other than yourself. But in order to do that, then you have to be able to see around, to hear what's going on, and then taking that initiative. And of course, then, I mean, it comes, I mean, vulnerability and everything else that you're going to be sharing. But that's, I think, is the basics of what true or servant leadership is all about.
And let me throw out another one as well, because along with being vulnerable is be motiveless. Motive, motiveless, motiveless. It's not a question about that radio station, WIIFM, what's in it for me. It's a question of how may I serve you. Now, interestingly enough, as I was getting ready for our segment today, I happened to be watching something else, and it reminded me, because why would people need to have help from other leaders? Some people think that they're good all by themselves. They don't need any help, which gets into a coaching situation. But it came to my mind that the newborn has to have parental units to teach them how to crawl and how to take those first steps and those first words, and then to teach them how to speak. And so I knew that that would be a good, pardon the phrase, shoehorn into servant leadership, because that's what we do as servant leaders. We're helping people to crawl and to walk, and they're going to fall, and we help them to get up again, and they're going to fall, and we help them to get up again. And we're motiveless because it's not about what's in it for me.
I mean, you know, Bob, just recently, within the last few days, during my daily teachings that I do, I mean, every day at 9 p.m. Eastern time on my page. And I was talking about, when it comes to leadership, there are two classes of leaders. I mean, there are those that I would call enhancers, you know, and those that are diminishers. I mean, that they put people down and they diminish and they don't help, and the difference resides in the fact that an enhancer is a person or is a leader who even is not concerned about his or her rights, but the rights of the people that are following them. And the fact that they can act in that servant leadership style and pour themselves into others is because they are very secure in who they are and in the leadership that they do. Because a person who is not secure, who is insecure, would never be able to do that. As a matter of fact, a leader who is insecure becomes very quickly a micromanager. But a leader who is secure it's not concerned about him, is concerned about other people.
And you know, I'm going to throw in the other three of the five, and then we can discuss them all at once. But to be a good servant leader, in my opinion, requires that you do it with intention, specific intention. And so one needs to be intentional. So let me throw in the other three, and then I'll read the five off again. Be transparent, which you've just been describing, and I'll even throw in that we're kind of like catalysts and enzymes. that chemical reaction that one is required to cause the other to happen, and vice versa. So good servant leaders interact as the catalyst or the enzyme to help the other to function. So the 5 items were: be vulnerable, be transparent, be motiveless, do pulse checks. Now, and the last one is, what's the why? Doing pulse checks is pretty unique, because every once in a while you need to check your pulse, not just to see that you're breathing, but to ensure that you are in fact doing what a servant leader needs to be doing. You need to check your pulse and say, okay, am I on track here, or have I gone away from my intention? Which then leads you to the last one: what's the why? Why do you want to be a servant leader in the first place?
Well, that's I think that the first question, I mean, this is not why, because as I was listening to you, and specifically about the why. Now, do you think that when a person begins his or her journey in leadership, do you think that they, at that point in time, at that point in their beginning steps on the journey, do you think that those people are concerned at that point in servant leadership, or servant leadership is something that it becomes part of them after they have journeyed for a while in leadership?
100% in agreement with you, because it's an acquired, I'm going to use a phrase, it's an acquired taste. It's something you grow into. And to first of all be a good servant leader, you need to be discovering what your why is before you, again, in my opinion, before you can go and help other people to discover what their why is.
I think so, because of course, if we follow the premise that we cannot offer or give to others what we do not have ourselves, then we have to experience that before we can allow other people to experience the same thing. So that I think that is essential.
So let me see if I'm understanding you correctly, because this just went off in my head. Our ability to be good servant leaders to others is beneficial to us as well, because it helps us to improve in our why-ship.
Of course, yes. I mean, I think that everything is not just on servant in the servant leadership area, but I think that in every area of our life, it's the words. Words they have tremendous power. Mm-hmm. Words have tremendous power, and but words, and I'm sorry, I mean, that I am, it's not that I am cheapening the value of words, but even though words have tremendous power, words are very cheap, because words, you can use words very cheaply, and it doesn't cost anything to use words. But that's why we have to pay a lot of attention to the words that we use, and definitely when it comes, to leadership, when it comes to growing into that leadership style, I think that becoming a servant leader, I think is something that not only as a servant leader, you are going to benefit greatly other people's lives, whether it be just on their personal life or their professional life. But in everything that we do, whatever we do is like a boomerang. Whatever we do and we benefit others is going to come back and is going to benefit us as well. So it's like it radiates. I mean, we radiate outwardly, but that hits back and it comes back to us and it benefits us as well.
So you're implying, and I'm agreeing with you, that it becomes a symbiotic relationship. It also implies, because words are a dime a dozen, that actions speak louder than words, hence where servant leadership comes in. Now, mind you, what I did yesterday for this woman, if I were in a different location, that might have been taken in a different translation. Let's say if I were in a particular part of New York, and I suddenly walked up and started pulling on this woman's shopping cart, would she have been concerned that I was stealing her food? So the first thing that I established was a warm greeting and smile and let me help you with this. So there are some words that are required,
Sure.
but actions speak louder than words. And of course, there's that acronym that I'm always thinking of, HOPE, helping other people achieve or excel. And we give hope to people when we are dealing with servant leadership. Now, you brought up about words, and I just want to put out there and throw it out in the outfield for now, but we will be having one of our unplugged sessions where we are going to be talking about words and the understandings thereof. And I'm kind of looking forward to that one, because as we speak our words, we're immediately translating in our mind what those words mean. And yet if we took those words individually, we'd have to go look up in the dictionary and say, okay, what is the definition of that word? So servant leadership, separately, they mean two different things. Compounded together, and I'm purposely putting my hands together like this because the greatest servant leader of all, and I don't want to get religious in this a religious broadcast that we're doing, but he was born, he did live, and he has gone down in history as being the greatest servant leader of all time. And I try to duplicate that. It's just a part of the entity of what we are all about.
Yes, and yes, and I think that I was thinking about, even, I mean, these days, I mean, you have in some countries, England being one of them. I mean, you have I mean, a royalty. You have the royal family, and they live, of course. I mean, the Queen lives in Buckingham Palace in London, and among other residences. But and you have, I mean, you have those people in those positions. I mean, they are surrounded 24 hours a day, practically, with servants. I mean, there are servants who are serving the needs of royalty, serving the needs of people who can afford definitely, I mean, that kind of a service. And yes, I remember maybe a few years ago that I saw an interview that someone did with one of the even perhaps butlers or servants, either of the Queen or one of the prince or princesses. And And for that servant, for that person in that capacity, it was an honor. It was a high honor to be a servant, to be serving the queen or serving another. I mean, for some others, I would say being a servant, it would be, my goodness, I mean, it would be denigrating you. I mean, how dare, I mean, me becoming a servant? I mean, are you kidding me? But for some people, so it depends, I think that it depends, first of all, how have you been brought up? I mean, in your family, what is the perspective that they have, and what is the perspective that you begin developing in your life? I mean, is servanthood something that is a denigrating position to have, or is it a place of honor? I mean, to be able to serve others.
As I say, it's an acquired taste.
Yeah.
It's a learned experience. It's a learning experience, because you will be working at this until. But as we start to bring this to a conclusion, there are two things that came to my mind, and it is possible for royalty to still be good servant leaders, as opposed to taking it to the extreme of the what's in it for me. I'm the king, I'm the queen. Come on, serve me. No, it's possible to still be a good servant leader.
Yeah.
And while I'm trying to think what the other one was, because at my age things come and go. Oh, you mentioned afford. From a personal experience, I cannot afford not to be a good servant leader. I cannot afford not to. And each day I have to get up and remind myself, you know, it's another day. And that's why I start off when I'm dealing with people. In fact, I get people on the phone. How may I serve you today? Like I mentioned, and you know, initially, some people will look at you strange, like, what are you talking about? How can you serve me today? But eventually, through repetition, you grow on people, or you may not grow on people, and that becomes a choice. So as we bring this to a close, my call to action for those that are watching us live and on the recording, and I'll just mention, everybody can see the spelling of my name down there at the bottom of my picture. You can go to YouTube and go to that name, and you can then also go to the name which is above under Alejandro there, because we both have YouTube channels, and these videos are posted. Our Alejandro and Bob unplugged videos are posted there for you to go back. So my call to action this week is take a moment and think. Be vulnerable, be transparent, do pulse checks, be motiveless, find out what's the why, and how can you serve someone else today. And it begins to feel good.
Oh, I think that it does. Yes, definitely. So thank you for that call to action. Yes, it's always good, I mean, to encourage other people, I mean, to do good things, especially during these times that some people find it easier to do evil than to do good. So it's a good reminder. So thank you, Bob. Thank you so very much. Now, for all of you who are watching or picking up the recording, what can I say? I'm sure that you want to know what we are going to be discussing next time. Well, that was a good try. Definitely, if I had the answer, I would certainly tell you. But I don't have, I need to go to the store to buy a crystal ball. So I can perhaps, begin to practice.
Synchronicity.
That's right, synchronicity of thinking. But I don't have that yet. So I cannot tell you what we're going to be discussing. But hello. Hello. Oh, there you are. I guess I click somewhere where I perhaps shouldn't have clicked, and the image just went away, but I brought it back.
You're just too excited about next week.
Yes. I think that I got too excited about, yes, I'm getting ahead of myself. But listen, if you enjoy this episode, please comment below. Let us know. Perhaps, there is a topic that is pressing in your mind and in your heart that you want to say, I want to learn more about this. Would you be able to expand on it? And of course, we would be delighted to expand on any topic that you have, as long as the topic is a legal topic. I'm not saying legal from a standpoint of attorney-client privilege, but you see, if it's a topic, of course, that we would be able, to share online. Of course, there is no restrictions. Okay, so thank you so very much. I hope to see you next time, and have a great rest of the day and weekend. Take care, and all the very best.